Are you ready? Let's go.
Yo, what's happening? What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Sports Dad, and you already know what time it is. I'm in the building, and certainly I'm glad to be in the building in the land of the living. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Especially it feels good just to be able to get away, just to be able to get away and take a look at a few things and whatnot, and to be able to just escape the negativity that we see on a consistent basis. But we're super excited to be here. If you cannot hear me, let me know. I was dealing with some connection issues earlier, but I think that I have it resolved. Still working on some things, but nothing's gonna stop us. We're gonna keep it rolling. If just how we do it. Just at the end of the day, we're not stopping. Tonight we got a special. It's actually a good session. I think it's going to be tonight. And we're going to talk about some really good things. And I want to just talk to the young recruits. And I also want to talk to the parents. Got some key information. And like I keep saying, there's big things to come. So make sure that you guys are staying close and we in there. But listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure that you subscribe. It's good to see that you can see us on Facebook, but at the end of the day, I would like for you to actually go to the YouTube and subscribe, share the information as much as you possibly can. All right. So we're going to jump right into our show in just a little bit, right after this.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Sports Dad. As you know, we have been making some significant changes to the channel, and it's happening lightning fast. Just recently, we added Lunch Table Talk, which normally kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. And we're getting some great reviews on that, so thank you for your support and keep it coming. And of course, we're still talking about the recruiting process for young athletes who want to play at the next level, which normally kicks off live on Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So as you can see, we're beefing up the channel and broadening our horizons. With new content coming and with your support, I think that's a good recipe for a nice blow up. I told you this year was going to be a great year. Lots of things happening. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and also share the information. And be sure to keep that energy coming. Listen, if you want to know more about recruiting and what it's like on the inside, and if you want to get into some friendly, heated sports debates, you know where to find me. Make sure that you tap in with your boy. That's what's up. That's what's up.
All right, everybody. So if you're in here now, awesome. If you're not, if you're going to take a look at the channel, take a look at it afterwards, that's perfectly fine. But if you got questions, don't hesitate to chime in and talk to me or whatnot and ask questions or whatnot. But, we're going to dive into it. So really important. I actually posted a video previously and it was talking about the NCAA and was also talking about Darius Robinson, who actually played, Roberson, I think his name was. And so, but basically, he played D2 football at Wayne State University and is now playing for the Arizona Cardinals. So let's take a look at that video because at the end of the day, I want to hit on a few things and we're going to talk about it and then we're going to get out of here. But let's check it out. Let's see. Hang on. Second. Let's do this.
issues with COVID-19, the NCAA has implemented, has executed. They have issued the academic automatic waiver for the class of 2021 through the class of 2023. This is the latest statement that was released from the NCAA Eligibility Center, and it says, given the continuing impact of COVID-19 on the educational environment, the NCAA Eligibility Center has partnered with the NCAA membership to identify the following changes to the initial eligibility certification process for students who initially enrolled full-time year. If you've been plugged into my channel, you should already be an expert on this because I did a video about that. I repeat, the college entry exam is no longer required. This is great. Remember, this was also issued last year as well. However, there's a caveat to it, and there's still an automatic waiver criteria that needs to be met. That's a great segue to actually look at the criteria. So let's take a look at it and break it down. The first bullet point says core course progression 10-7 before starting 7th semester. Second bullet point, 16 core course units in the required subject areas, right? And 2.3 core course GPA, 2.3 or more core course GPA, and proof of graduation. So let's go back to the first bullet point, core course progression of 10-7. So what exactly does that mean? Well, there are 16 core courses, and out of the 16 core courses, before you start the 7th semester or your senior year, you have to have 10 of those core courses units in the required subject areas, 2.2 or higher core course GPA, and proof of graduation. Listen, it doesn't get any better than this. You can leap for joy. However, there are still some colleges that still may ask you, hey, what is your SAT or your ACT score? However, just keep in mind, the NCAA has issued the academic automatic waiver. Moving on to
all right. So does anybody have any questions on that? All right. Because, I think that is huge. We didn't hear, we're not hearing much talk. COVID has taken so much away from the young recruits and young and we're looking to the NCAA to see what type of adjustments and things like that they're gonna make, be able to give them something, right? Because so much was actually taken away, and so this was done in 2020, kind of like in a better situation, slightly, but still battling the same challenges. So they issued the automatic waiver again. So, which in essence mean that the college entry exam is not required so that you can become eligible to go to college or Division I, if you will. It's not required, right? So I thought it was huge. And so how do you become eligible? You become eligible by your grades only. So what they're doing is that before 7 semesters, right? Not 7 semesters, the 7th, before you become a senior, right? They're qualifying you from the 9th grade all the way up until you are a junior with your cumulative core GPA. And so that's why it's important to do good coming into high school and not thinking like, oh, I got time to pull it together. You don't. From the time that you're in the 9th grade, your grades are counting towards your core GPA, a cumulative GPA. And so at the end of the day, if you are not whatnot, but your GPA is everything right now. And so while you are junior, before you become a senior. So that's what that means. Now, here's the thing. It's not required, but may ask for test scores. So let's see what, I see what Darnell is saying. He's saying that, let's remove this for a second. He's saying that I was just looking into that today. And what I got is that some schools are waiving the test scores. Yes, some schools are definitely waiving the test scores. Some schools are. Now, here's the thing. Now, this is a NCAA situation, right? This is an NCAA situation, and like they issue this, the waiver. So my question is that how come all colleges are not abiding by it? Because it's my understanding that they still may ask young athletes or whatnot, they still may ask you for your SAT, your ACT, SAT scores. They still may ask you for it. Why? I have no idea. I did see a post with Coach Merchant. He said that they still may ask you for to see if you to ensure that you qualify for certain scholarships and things like that at the school, which I understand. But if you're getting an athletic scholarship, that money, it should come solely, right off of your athletics. Now, in addition to that, if you can get some academic or whatever, that's perfectly fine. But my thing is that this was issued, by and agreed upon, by the NCAA. So why aren't colleges abiding by that? I guess they still have a choice to, but but in essence, it just makes sense to, since and from a coaching standpoint, especially understanding what COVID has done to these players, especially the young players out of high school, you would think that they're saying like, hey, you know what, for young recruits, if we're interested in them, let's not even ask them about their scores. Let's even ask them about their scores. Why? Because we have that right. And it's in the past, it was because of some of the scores that you couldn't recruit them because their scores were so low. And let's just face it, everybody doesn't test well. Everybody doesn't test well. I know, smart guys, smart students, and they actually sat down and took that test, and they do not test well, period. And so that test is not really a true barometer or indicator of one's intelligence or if they are, or if they're getting it enough to be able to, go to college. That doesn't make any sense to me. So that was my concern in the whole situation. But, it's not required. But once again, a college may ask you for it. And so, to be honest, if you got a school that's interested in you and if they ask you for it, I would, there's nothing wrong from a parent perspective and a player perspective to ask that question. Like, okay, no problem. But how does that automatic waiver benefit me? How can I take advantage of that? Because things were taken away from us. You know what I mean? So I think like coaches and schools should have that same mindset because, and make adjustments for these guys because they got shipped and it's not really fair. So why would you still require a score when that could possibly disqualify a person from being recruited? Bill says, hey, Bill says Ivy schools are still asking for scores. Yeah, and that's what I heard. That's what I heard. Ivy schools, like, you're not going to recruit an Ivy League player if they don't have the grades. So if they have a grade, so typically these guys that they're recruiting have 3.5s, 3.9s, 4.0s, right? So, and if that's the case, then let that be the situation. We have permission to waive to waive the entry exam. Let's take advantage of it. COVID took it away. Give that to the kids. You know what I mean? So like, why still ask for it? I mean, I wish someone, and maybe I'll get more clarity on that as soon as I, can get to some of the college coaches and maybe have a conversation with them and ask them. We are going to be going through some camps, and we're going to talk about camps too. And so, just in a few seconds, we're going to be talking about camps. But I'm going to go to the camps, and I'm going to ask that question. And like, just want to know, just educate me. And if I get some good information, I'll either record it on the spot or I'll bring it back to you. Okay. Guys that are stuck going on don't want to give the D2 schools any day at time. I'm here to let you know that you're going to miss out, and do not put all of your eggs in one basket. Hopefully I pronounced his name correctly, but Darius Robinson Jr., former Wayne State football player, has signed a deal. Robertson, wide receiver, has signed a deal with the Arizona
Listen, it can be done. Do not put all of your eggs in one basket, and don't shun the D2 schools. It's happening at the D2 level, and I'm gonna let you know right now, the D2 schools are looking really, really good. Well, that's it for me, folks. Listen, if you want to know more about recruiting and you want,
so let's talk about that. So a lot of guys, right? And I was guilty of this as well. But we not really a huge fan. It's everybody's dream. Okay. It's every player's dream to go D1, period. Let's just face it. It's everyone's player's dream to go D1 or to be recruited by a top-notch school or just to be able to play at the Division I level, period. That's a player's dream. And parents are in their corner too as well and hoping for that. So when that doesn't happen, then of course, then you have the D2s, which isn't a bad thing, and I've learned that, right? But and I was once too one of those guys that wasn't really given the D2s that their respect. But really, there's some D2s out there that really should be D1s, and there's some D2s out there as well that that run a better program than some of these D1s, right? So, which is why you have guys that go D1 or try to walk on D1 and they don't like it, and then they'll end up going D2. So, in which I understand. But this guy, Darius Roberson, right, played at Wayne State University, and as you can see, he signed with the Arizona Cardinals, right? Now we've heard of players going to the NFL from a D2 school, but that right there is huge, right? Grand Valley had some as well. Got a guy playing for the Ravens and things like that. So it can happen, right? It can happen. But it depends how hungry you are. And so, but my thing is that too, don't put all your eggs in one basket, just like I said in that video, and just say, oh, I'm going D1. I want to go on. I get D1. But it's not all about D1, right? I mean, great. If you can go D1, great. And if they're going to play you, awesome. You know what I mean? And if it's a good situation, great. But if no D1s recruit you and you got a lot of D2s coming for you, and go in and use their platform, because they do have a platform, right? They do have professional teams visiting them just like the D1s do. And so, and some of them have better facilities, right? I've seen it and I've heard it. And so, which is, so at the end of the day, I just wanted to bring that back up because, I think a lot of us missed the train, because we're looking for the big offer. But what if that big offer doesn't come, and then you got a nice D2 want you really bad, and they want you to come play. So at the end of the day, make it happen, right? And so take advantage of it and rise to the occasion. Now, obviously, this guy really wanted it, and this is a great segue to go straight into the camp talk. Now, here's the thing: how did Darius Roberson go to the NFL? Go to the NFL. What did he do to separate himself? What did he do to set himself apart? And that's the question, right? What did he do to set himself apart? So after reading and looking into it, I discovered that the guy ran a 4.3 in his pro day, right? So he had a pro day and he ran a 4.3. So in a 40-yard dash. So that right there cannot be ignored. I said before in my past videos as well, hey, put yourself in a situation where you cannot be denied, where you cannot be ignored. And so and that's what he did. He had his pro day, and when they saw that, that stood out. And so right then and there, it was just like, okay, this guy's legit. Let's go. And so and that's what it's really, really all about. Now, it goes back to the question too, how bad do you really want it? Now, if you want it bad enough, then you'll show that you want it bad enough, right? You'll have that mindset. These guys that are doing this, going to the NFL, from the D2s or whatnot, they're going in there with a different mindset. They're hungry, right? They're hungry. They don't have that D1 mindset, like I played D1, you know what I'm saying? And I played at one of the top colleges. I'm going to NFL, and somebody picked me up. No, they're going like, listen, this is my only chance. And I gotta stand out. I gotta put it all out there. Right. And so, and guess what happens? That's what they do, right? You're either going to do one or two things. Either you're going to rise to the occasion or you're going to fall. And so this guy chose to rise to the occasion, right? That's right, Dre. That's right. Can't teach dog and work ethic. You can't. You just got to have it naturally. So with that being said, what camps do, how does it segue over to the camps? You have to have the same mindset. So before we even get into the mindset though, let's talk about what camps should you go to, right? Because a lot of us are going to waste time going to camps. A lot of you guys are going to waste time going to camps. It's going to be a ton of kids there. Might not be as many as, kids there because of COVID and they're breaking up the groups, but it's going to be a lot of kids there. And then typically, college coaches know who they already want to look at. They had these camps so that you can come to them, work out, and so they can see you, right? And so they can see how you look and see how you moving, and if they want to offer you. So they already know who they want to offer, right? And so, you have to have that in mind. But what camps do you actually go to? So here's the thing. If you have colleges in your Twitter, and I'm glad, I see the number getting up there. We got 8 people in. What's up? If you're new to the channel, make sure you go to my YouTube and subscribe. I got, big announcements on the way. So, but if you have coaches talking to you on Twitter, right? If you got coaches talking to you on Twitter, in your inbox, they reached out to you, right? And they even sent you a flyer, right? Letting you know when their camps are, or they're just talking to you, showing interest, right? And if they have a camp and they haven't offered you yet, but if they have a camp, that's the camp you should go to. Why? Because you already have a contact that's in your Twitter inbox talking to you, asking you questions like, what's your grades? What's your score? Which they, the score thing, right? We just talked about that, waiver. But they're asking you those questions. That doesn't mean that they're showing interest for them to follow you, then go into your inbox and talk to you. They're showing interest. So with that being said, you need to find out if that school is having a camp. And if they are having a camp, talk to that person that hit you up. Like, hey, listen, I'm planning on attending your camp or whatnot. So just wanted to let you know that I'll be attending your camp. Just kind of giving you guys a heads up, or whatnot. So that they'll know, like, hey, they reached out to me. So obviously something caught their eye. They like my highlight or something. So now I'm going to go to the camp, and I'm going to, and when I go to the camp, they're going to be looking for me. Right. That's one way. Now, another way, you guys may disagree. And I want to hear from you if you have any other, things, right. That you want to add. Now, what I just said goes for basketball and football, because I understand that basketball colleges reach out too. That goes for basketball and football. That can happen, right? If they're in your inbox, they have a camp. All right, cool. Now, a lot of times, now what I'm getting ready to say now, some people may not agree with it, but there are players currently right now that are reaching out to college coaches in their Twitter inbox right now, right? That's because Twitter is the place to be. Twitter, if you don't know that, if you got a kid and they don't have a Twitter, or if they're not on Twitter, you need to make sure that they're on Twitter, right? They need to make sure they're on Twitter, posting their highlights, or whatnot, keeping their Twitter page active, following people, following coaches or whatnot. Make sure that their Twitter page is active. Because that is where the offers happen. That's where everything takes place at. So But there are some players that are reaching out to college coaches that haven't offered them, right? That haven't even shown any interest, right? They're reaching out to them in their inbox, trying to inbox them, saying like, "Hey, here's my highlight. Can you take a look at me?" Whatnot. Now, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. And some college coaches don't agree with it neither. In fact, the college that offered my son, in the call, he asked him, he's like, what are you reaching out to coaches in their inboxes and stuff? And he was like, nope, I'm not. My son's like, no, I'm pretty much waiting on them to call me or whatnot. And he was just like, I like that. That's what I like. That's good. Because, he was like, a lot of players be reaching out and, that's kind of frowned upon into some coaches because they're getting a lot of text messages and things like that. And, that's kind of frowned upon. It makes them seem like they're very, what's the word that I'm looking for? They are, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Geez. They're very, well, you know what I'm talking about. It's showing that they want it too bad. Right. And I know there's a word for it. It's right on the tip of my tongue. I'm having a brain fart, but, and if you're showing that you want it like that and you really want it, right? Like you're desperate. That's the word. All right. You're desperate for an offer. Don't do that. Don't do that. Especially if you are if you're one of the top players in your class. You should know. That's another thing. Recruits, parents, we should know if our kids is one of the top in their class. We should know. And they should know too. But it's kind of frowned upon. So, but some coaches like it. Some high school coaches, promote that. Hey, you need to make sure that you reaching out. So here's my take on it. Colleges have to, well, they have a certain amount of offers that they're going to give. They know who they're going to offer. And so if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page. It's good to see you on Facebook, but make sure you subscribe. If you got questions, make sure you post them. If you got comments, make sure you post them. I want to hear from you. I love it when you guys engage with me because, that lets me know I'm doing things right. I don't like to do all the talking, but if you got questions, let me know. I feel like this. If you're a dog athlete, what's a dog athlete? Dog athlete is that when I go to your huddle and I'm looking like, okay, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like dog athlete, you score, like you can't be stopped. You know what I'm saying? Or you're dogging, like you're just obviously separating yourself defensively if you're a defensive player. You know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever it is that you do, whatever position that you playing at, you just standing out, you're dominating constantly, and it's just jaw dropping, right? And so, and if that is the case, then I don't feel that you should have to reach out. Now, what I feel that you need to do is take care of your grades. That's number one. After you take care of your grades, then perform, right? Perform well at a high level, separating yourself on the field, right? Then, now that you have those two things, now that you have ammo now. Now you have I have my grades. My cumulative GPA is above a 2.3, right? I got cushion. If you got good test scores, great. That's, and I can play. I can play at the D1 level. I'm good enough to do that, right? I'm just a flat out dog like that. Then what needs to happen is that, okay, after you doing your thing that you're supposed to be doing on Twitter, then I got to get in front of the college coaches if they don't know about me, right? If they don't know about me, I have to get in front of the college coaches. Oh, time out, back up. Another thing you can do too is that, if you, like I said, you could also use your high school coach too. If you got connects with your high school coach and if a college coach hasn't reached out to you, but your high school coach has connections, tell them, hey, I'm thinking about hitting some camps. I want to know if you have any connections at the college level and recommendations on which camps I should go to. So you can kind of give a heads up for me and let them know that I'm coming so that they can look for me, right? You can use your high school coach like that if they're connected to. But the next thing that you need to do is that you need to get in front of the coaches. So getting in front of the coaches, the camps, when you go to these camps, there is not just the representation is not just going to be the school that's throwing the camp, that's running the camp. It's going to be college coaches from in that area, right? When we went, we saw everything. We went to Eastern Camp, we saw it, and I saw the same coaches, Indiana, Kentucky, I mean, they were all there. So I even saw University of Michigan. I mean, they were there, like, state, all representation. They are there, so when you get to the camps, right, you got your film, you dogging it, and you a dog player. Now you have to have that dog mindset. Now you got to dog at the camps. Now, this is where a lot of you go wrong. But if you do what you're supposed to do at the camps, then you're going to get a lot of attention. That's where you're going to start. They're going to say, oh, who's this kid? Oh, okay. Follow him on Twitter, or they might even offer you on the spot, right? It's getting out in front of the college coaches to get your exposure. That's where you're going to attract them, to get them to actually call you, so that you can take the pressure off of yourself and say, man, I got to get my grades. I got to perform. Then I got to get on Twitter and I got to reach out to college coaches. You shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. If you can play at the next level and you got it like that, what you need to do is get to the camps and just show them what you can do at the camps, right? Show them that your huddle is legit. And so now at the camps, it's a totally different situation. At the camps, you got your set of guys that are hungry, that understands, like, I'm going in here to get money, right? I'm going in here to get money and I'm not leaving nothing on the table. Then you got your other set of guys that says, I'm here, but, they're timid, and things like that. And so they're not really going to get much, right? And if you're going with that attitude, just stop. If parents, if you're investing in your kids and pay for a camp, you better make sure that they don't have that attitude, because if they do, you're wasting your money. You're wasting your money. They need to be over here with this group that understands, like, I'm going to get it. This might be my only camp that I'm going to, so I'm going to stand out. Whoever is in my way, I'm going to compete against them, and I'm going to either beat them or give them a run for their money. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to be in this group. Period. Now, those guys that are here, they dominate these guys that are timid. They look for those guys that are timid. And what they start doing is, because it's all about reps, right? It's all about reps. If you go to these camps that are local, that are hosted by the local normal organizations, Rising Star, somebody, and the rest of them, right? If you go to those camps, you will see that those guys, those hungry guys, they prey on those guys that are timid. And if they're timid, guess what they're doing? They're pushing you out of the way. They're taking advantage of you in the drills. They might push you, even though, like, if they're DB, and if you run a route against them, they know they're not supposed to be grabbing you, but they'll grab you anyway and throw you down to the ground, right? Then step over you. Then, and then everybody else will be like, hey, pumping them up. And they know that's not football, but you just got pumped. You just got muscled, out muscled. So because you're timid. And so they're eating you up. They taking cuts in front of you. And it's all about reps. Remember that. It's all about reps. And so they're taking cuts and getting more reps than you, right? Because they know you're not going to say nothing when they take a cut, when they're taking cuts in front of you. That's the thing. If you have that timid mindset when you go into these camps, you're going to get eaten up. You're wasting your time. Now, if you're young, 9th grade, and you go on these camps getting your feet wet, then I can understand. And I can understand that. But if you're not, you need to go in there and get money, period. And don't leave nothing on the table. You can't be afraid to compete. If you're afraid to compete, you might as well put your pads down. You might as well put the rock down and call it a day, period. End of story. This goes for basketball and football. When you go in for basketball, you got to be ready to eat. You got to be ready to eat. You got to be ready to eat at all times. If you're not ready to eat, stop. Stop tricking yourself. Stop lying to yourself. Stop lying to your parents. Parents, stop lying to yourselves and stop lying to your kids. If you don't see that dog in them and you know that they're timid and they don't have it like that, they're not getting it, don't waste your money. You're wasting it. Now, sometimes the attitude has to be developed. Sometimes you got to throw them into the fire. But if you're in the 11th grade and you go into a camp and you timid, you don't have a chance. If you're in the 10th grade and you go into a camp and you timid, you might have a little time, but you don't have a lot of time. So you're on that edge too. So you got to be a dog from the beginning. You got to be a dog, and you got to have that mindset. You got to be willing to, like, hey, I need to get more reps. Hey, you going? Oh, you ain't going. If you see the timid guys there, hey, I need to get reps, and they don't seem like they hungry. I'm hungry. Watch out. Let me get up here. Watch out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, and but I'm gonna tell you like this. If that was me and I'm got an opportunity to go to camps where I know I could possibly get offer and stand out, and I got college coaches over there, ain't nobody cutting in front of me. We gonna fight before you cut in front of me. And I see that a lot at these camps. And in most cases, the coaches or whoever's running the camp, they don't do nothing about that. They see it, they know it's happening. Right? But it's just the nature of the game. You got to be a dog. Now, after that mindset after you have that mindset, now it's time for the drills. When you're going to these camps, you have to be sharp. You have to be you have to act like this is your last chance, right? This is your only camp that you have. You have to be sharp. You got to be sharp. And if you have been putting in the work like you're supposed to, that is a piece of cake. Then it's no pressure to you, because that's what you do. That's what your makeup is. And that's why you're able to dominate like you do on your huddle. But if that's not what you do, if you're not putting in that extra work, then you're going to feel that pressure like, oh, I got to run a good 40 time. I got to make sure I'm doing this. If you putting the pressure on yourself when it's time to go to camp, that means you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do leading up to the camp. So my thing is that you got to be super sharp in all of the drills. And how do you become super sharp? This is where, guys, your sound mind somebody's come in. This is where your rising stars come in, and all those other guys. You know what I'm saying? This is where all that comes in, because guess what those guys are doing every week, right? They're working out with a camp simulation, right? They have their workout set up like it is in the camp. They're doing the same drills, right? They're doing those same drills. The same drills. And at the end, they do their one-on-ones. So at the end of the day, when you get to the camp, that shouldn't be a surprise to you. That shouldn't be a surprise, because that's what you've been doing. So, and also too, this is where, now, a lot of times too, like, you go to the Rising Stars, those organizations, they have a lot of kids that they're working with. So they don't really have the time to give you that one-on-one. Now they do actually, coach up players, right? And pick on guys and, and things like that. But they still have to divide their time. So if you need work after you go to these organizations and you know that you need some work and you have some weaknesses, then what you need to do is you need to get one-on-one with somebody that does this, that know what they're doing, right? And get yourself together. Get yourself together. If you're working out on the side and if you're not getting exposed, if you're not exposing your weaknesses, you're not getting any better. You're not getting any better. So that's how you become sharp in your drills, is you prepare. But now that you don't have no confidence because you ain't been putting in the work, you're not going to be sharp. But if you've been putting in the work, now your confidence is there. It's like, okay, let's go. Let's eat. Let's go. So if you play in a skill position, you have to run a good 40. A good 40 time alone. If you run a good 40 time, everything else is secondary. Running a good 40 time is the key. If you can get that down, if you can master that, you're in good shape. You're in really good shape. So skill positions, right? If you are in a skill position, you need to be able to run a good 40. You need to be able to run a good 40. There's no way around it. If you can run a good 40, you can catch their attention. That's what happened to Dries Roberson. Now he's playing for the Arizona Cardinals because he ran a 4.3. Right? So if you can run a good 40 time, a 4.3, a 4.5, they'll take a 4.5. Yeah, they'll take it, But if you can get it below a 4.5, that just give you, that just puts you right up there. That separates you. So so how do I be able to run the 4.5? You got to put in the work. Yeah, put in the work. And it's all here. You got to put in the work. You got to get with somebody that know what they're doing, right? Get your butt, run track, get yourself running, and and work on your sprinting. You know what I'm saying? And work on that stuff. There's all types of stuff on YouTube. Go get you a speed bag, a parachute, and get yourself together, man. But you have to run a good 40. If you run a good 40, those college coaches are looking too to see what your 40 is going to be. And keep in mind, when you step up to run your 40, you should want to add cushion to it because everybody there sometimes, in most cases, they're hand timing it, right? They're hand timing it. And sometimes the hand timing can be off. I seen it. I seen where there are like 3, 4, 5 guys with stopwatches at these camps. At the end of the 40, they're like, what you got? Everybody got different time. Oh, he ran a 4.3. Oh, I got him at a 4.5. Oh, I got him at a 4.7. So obviously, a good camp will take the lowest one, and that's closest, right? That's showing some consistency, but I've seen it though, and it just ruins it. So your mindset should be like, I got to make sure I cover myself because nobody else is going to cover me. Run a good 40 and look sharp in everything else and dominate all of the drills, the shuttle, all of that. Dominate it. And that's how you get offered. If you go there and do what you're supposed to do, I guarantee you're not going to walk away empty-handed. You're going to get offered right on the spot, either by the college that's throwing the camp or by the college or by other colleges that are there. Trust me. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes, bro. And so at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're putting yourself in a position to not be denied. If you are putting yourself in a position to be denied, you're not helping yourself. You're not helping your parents. You're spending your parents' money and they're wasting their time. So that's how you do it. All right. And if you do those things, those college coaches will be in your inbox. Go to these camps and show out. They'll be in your inbox. If they ain't in your inbox now, it's because you're doing something wrong. You're spending money the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? You're spending money with everything else. They doing your highlights and you're getting yourself out there and things like that. You're doing this and you're doing that, but you're not getting the offers. It's because you got to go to the camps and get in front of the college coaches and dog and show out and separate yourself. That's it. That's what's gonna get it. That's gonna get it. If you're not doing good in those, because guess what? When you go to those camps, the good camps, they're recording everything that you do. They're recording it. They're physically video recording everything that you do. You got a number, right? And they are taking your stats. Everything that you do at those stations is being recorded on paper. And so the college coach show up. Hey, coach, here you go. Here's the paper, right? They go looking down those. They looking in those categories. 40 shuttle. You know what I'm saying? They looking at it. And they're like, oh, who's this kid? Okay, right, all right. Number 46. All right, where you at? 46. There you go. Hey man, I'm talking to you for a second. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? That's how it works. That's how it works. That's why it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Now, here's the thing. I know guys that have been offered that knowing good and well that they can't play at the next level, right? They can't play at the next level, but they did. But guess what they did? They went to these, they did great at the camp, and their numbers look good. It's a numbers game. If you play the numbers game, you win. But if you don't play the numbers game, you're screwed. You're screwed. Same thing for basketball. Same thing for basketball. You don't got no offers yet or anything like that. You playing on these AAU teams and all this stuff. But if you ain't playing at the right AAU tournaments where the colleges are, you're screwed. If you're not playing for the teams that got the connections to the college coaches, you're wasting your time. You better off looking up online or looking up on Twitter. Okay, what college is having the camp? Okay, a basketball camp that I can go to. All right, I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to these camps, and when I go to these camps, I'm not gonna be denied. I'm going to stand out and dog. You think a college coach gonna let you walk away? You think they're gonna just let you walk away and just be like, yeah, he was good? No, a smart college coach be like, oh, okay, who's that? And you ain't got no what? It happens. It happens. There are kids that are overlooked all the time, and then they end up blowing up later. And college is like, what? Why we didn't? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. That's what you need to do at the camp. And if you do those things at the camp, you got to be camp ready. You got to get yourself together. So you got a month or so to do that, because the camps are popping off. Some camps are popping off now, but they're going to be going on all summer. Hey, find the camp, go to the camps for the colleges that are interested in you. And if you don't have colleges interested in you, talk to your high school coach. If he doesn't have any connections, then you make a decision on what camps that you're going to go to. And when you go to the camp, I'm going to stand out. They may not know me now, but after I leave this camp, they're going to know who I am. Why? Because my number says so. Right? And then put your numbers on your Twitter and let it speak for itself. And you ain't got to reach out to no college coaches. You ain't got to beat their door down. You don't have to. You shouldn't have to do that. And some of these college coaches are rude, so you got to be careful with that. I'm telling you, like, man, get out my inbox, bro. Like, I'm not offering you. Why should I offer you? Right? So you don't want that. You want guys that want you. You should want to go places where you want it. And so that's my thing on the camps. Hopefully you got something out of that. What time is it? Let's see. Another thing is too, I'm working on some so of course, if you do your thing after the camp, then they have a session point where they're shaking hands with everybody. They want to meet everybody, right? That's there's an opportunity for you to work the room, right? So I've seen it to where players have their contact information, have cards or whatever, so that they can give, their information, or they're using Twitter, like, okay, well, follow me on Twitter, and they'll trade the information right there. But at the end of the day, you want the college coaches walking up to you, right? You want them walking up to you. But however, if nobody is showing any interest, then of course there's an opportunity for you to work the room a little bit while you're there in person. They can see you face to face. There's nothing wrong with you picking out a person, going and building rapport. That's called networking, right? Networking. And so, but if you don't know how to network, it won't work, right? And so, and that's one of the things that I see with these, with these programs. None of them are really teaching kids how to network, right? You got to know how to network. Networking is where it's at. Life is about resources. And if you don't have resources or people willing to share resources with you, then basically you're on your own. So how do you do that? You develop networking. Go on YouTube. Find out what networking is, how it works. Get your elevator pitch up. Hey, coach. Hi. My name is Cephas Harris. I'm a student at, this particular high school. I'm a class of such and such. I play this particular position. My grades is, run it down. And, my grades is this. And, I'm looking to play at the next level. I know I can play. And I want to know if you check out my huddle. I want to know, did you get a chance to see me in the camp today? Right? Have a conversation with him. But if you're not used to that, if you don't have any those people skills or anything like that, then it's going to feel awkward. It's not going to be natural. And then you're not going to want to do it. You're going to be standing off and watching everybody else get money. but you have to be able to network, right? So take that away. Learn how to network. And also too, network with the media, not only with the coaches, but with the media. It's a lot of, in a couple weeks, I've been talking to, I got a guest that's coming, I've been, and he's major in the media game. And so, I'm going to announce that. So make sure that you stay close to my channel. And, but he's talking about coming on my show. And so, and he has seen it all. And so at the end of the day, you still want to be able to build relationships with them and catch their eye too. So how do you network, right? Networking is the key. Yeah. And it all goes into, and that all plays into your professionalism, and things like that. So, that's basically it. That's all I wanted to really chime on and talk about, because I think that's super important. I'm not going to bore your patience today with, with a whole bunch of, other stuff that's going on, but, you tidbits. And in the weeks to come, like each week, when we have our live sessions for recruiting, I'm telling you right now, it's going to get better and better. So, because I got some stuff lined up. So make sure you just stay close. Yeah, I know I've been kind of cranking it up on my advertising a little bit. And, I try to do, if I'm having someone on the show, I try to do a promo video to build the audience or whatnot. So when I do that, I need you guys to share it for me. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you took some stuff away tonight. Hopefully I encouraged you. I encourage you in the way so that when you go to these camps, you don't be a pushover. You know what I'm saying? You don't, you're not going to be timid, but you're going to be in that other group, right? You're going to be in that hungry group. You're not going to be letting people take cuts in front of you. You're not going to be do that. And you're going to look sharp in all of your, at all of your stations, at all of your camps, from your warm-ups all the way to the end, right? And you're going to look good when you're doing it. And so that's what it's really all about. And you got to have that mindset. So get yourself in the mindset of being camp ready, right? Being camp ready, because there are camps going on. The colleges are open back up. The dead period is over, and they're looking to make some offers. All right. So if you got topics that you want me to cover, make sure that you hit me up. You know where to find me on social media. And so, I'm on Twitter. Follow me there. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to make it happen, but I'm working for you, because at the end of the day, I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. And two, I do not want you to have to go through this process fearfully. There's no reason to fear, right? Especially if you got God on your side. So make sure you stay close and make sure that you're checking out the channel and checking out the content, because there are good things to come. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Peace. There you have it, folks. Another great recruiting session in the books. Definitely there were some huge nuggets that were dropped, and hopefully you're walking away with something tangible. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we post new information. And also too, if you want to support the channel financially, be sure to send all donations to $SportsDad CEPH, and that's also on my YouTube platform as well. Make sure that you stay tapped in. And until next time, I'm out.